So Australia has decided to ban all children under 16 from accessing social media sites like Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, X, Reddit, Snapchat. What? Yes, they're banning Snapchat. I mean, I don't know how they're going to do that. That's like taking away oxygen from these kids.
That's outrageous!
Yeah, I know.
Yep, this week our progressive parliament, who has always been ahead of the game, and if you doubt the Australian government is ahead of the game, don't forget that we had the most draconian lockdowns in the world. Well, these geniuses, they've decided that the parents can't parent around internet usage anymore. So they need to step into your households and ensure the precious little minds of your teenagers and children are protected. These laws come into effect late next year, but soon they're going to start rolling out plans and implement trials of this. I mean, I've got no idea how that's going to work. It's going to be interesting to say the least.
I'm scared I won't survive.
But kids, don't worry, because you can still access health content, you can still access Google Classroom and Kids Helpline, which I think you're all going to need when you find out you can't log into your Snapchats anymore.
Well, thanks for nothing.
Anyway, this is Big Brother at its finest. I mean, I don't know why we don't just do what China does and implement a nationwide ban for all citizens of social media content. And just like China, we can set up our own domestic social sites so Aussies can still access really important information like inflation and unemployment rates, like what Nicole and Keith are doing this week, and most importantly, keep abreast of the latest cricket and football scores. But it isn't just Australia. If you live in Norway, in France, in Germany, Belgium, or Italy, there are some restrictions over age of access, but all those countries seem to still involve the parent, or at least parental consent, at certain ages. So, well done to Australia. Thank you, Australia, for understanding that social media access for those under 16 is bad. It's
Very bad. Very, very, very bad.
And it can't be a place of creativity or connectedness or peer support, of learning, of information, advice. It can't be a barrier to isolation, and we certainly wouldn't want it to be fun.
Governance!
But in all seriousness, yes, there's bad stuff on the internet. There's bad stuff everywhere. There's bad stuff on the internet for adults. But in all seriousness, there is bad stuff on the internet, right? There's bad stuff everywhere. I just don't think the answer is intruding into our lives. I don't think it's taking things away or imposing crazy restrictions or penalties. I think people will find a way around things if they really want to. If they want to find bad stuff, they're just going to find it elsewhere. Social media, it's not going away, and neither are 16-year-olds with all their curiosity and their deep desire to stay connected with one another in a world that is very much different to the one that I grew up in, to the one that these politicians making these rules and regulations grew up in. We gotta move with the times.
It's the freaking future!
I guess the irony is I'm making a video here that perhaps in a year young people may not even be able to access. Look, when the government has control and influence for the supply of information, they gain the dangerous and the illegitimate monopoly to control and influence the thought processes of its citizens. And whilst I understand some of the reasoning behind this ban, I just don't see it being feasible. I don't see it being reasonable or even solving the problem that presumably it is meant to solve. I mean, what do you think? Do you think there are better ways to manage this? Do you think it is the responsibility of the government to do this? Or is it the responsibility of the parents? Or even the responsibility of the multi-billion-dollar tech companies that are profiting from this? I'm curious to hear your thoughts, unless you're under 16, in which case, what would you know?